It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Welcome to the Confidence in Bloom, where bold women rise and shine and own their power. We all face that pesky inner critic, what I call the itty-bitty shitty committee, whispering self-sabotaging doubts and untrue trash talk that holds us back. Here, we don't like that noise. We don't let that noise win. This is a space to celebrate the fierce, fabulous women who have broken free from fear, crushed limiting beliefs, and stepped into their full, unstoppable selves. Because let's be real, the most powerful thing any woman can wear is her confidence. I'm Tina Spoletini, your host with the Divas That Care Network, and I will bring you real stories from women who reclaimed their voice, embraced their worth, and are lighting the way for all of us. Ready to bloom into your best self? Let's dive in. Today I'm chatting with Debbie Van Kamp. Debbie Van Kamp is the CBWN community has been an inspiration and a soft place to land for businesswomen and entrepreneurs for 16 years in the Calgary area. Ideas are shared, friendships are made, and new beginnings are welcomed. And Debbie is the owner of the CBWN, which stands for Connected Business Women Network. Her other venture, Color Street Nails, is a fun business that allows her to watch people transform and have fun with nail color without the drying time and the hassle. So welcome, Debbie.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I want to know, what does Boss Babe Summer look like for you this year?
Well, I always find summer to be the best opportunity to kind of look at the business, look at things that have gone right, look at things that maybe need some tweaking, be open to ideas, meet with my volunteer committee, and see how we can really start projecting into the fall and then into the new year. I start planning my calendar actually at this time for next year already. So I'm a bit of a chronic planner, which can be a good thing and it can be not so good. But I like to think it's a strength.
I love that. Actually, no, I think that's good. I think there's some truth behind that, right? I mean, knowing what we went through this year, how do we want to, make it happen again next year or cut it, right? That gives you lots of time to fix your calendar. That's awesome. And so summer is the time of partying and fun and, restfulness. How are you using this season to recharge and refresh yourself?
Well, it really is a fantastic time of year for me personally. A number of years ago, we invested in a property here in British Columbia. And so we've been growing this property for 16 years with the vision of semi-retirement, retirement. So we have found that over the past few years, we just keep spending more time here. And we're in an RV park, so it is only open until Thanksgiving. So we really make the best out of our summer because we all know we live in Canada and summer is about a minute long.
Right.
So we really do enjoy our time out here and we really connect with people out here. And, it's like when you go to camp, you have your summer friends and then you have your winter friends and then maybe you have your holiday friends. So out here, all of us, me, my husband, and even our dog, we all have our summer friends, and we do different things. We go in the boat and we go for long walks, and we go golfing. We're right on a little 9-hole golf course, and just enjoy the beautiful long days of brightness. And I just, summer is my favorite. It's just not long enough.
Yeah, I know that's everyone's complaint, right? Summer's not long enough. So how do you, I mean, it sounds like, it's so awesome, right? Like it's summertime, right? Like, that you're going to do all these things, golf and, spend time with your friends and all the things, but where and how do you find time to plan to refocus for the fall?
Well, and it's really interesting because I've always worked from a home-based business since I moved to Calgary in 1997. And I have just found that if I get up in the morning and I have my couple of cups of coffee, track out the day the night before, I'm usually really efficient in the mornings, and so is my husband. So we find that the mornings we work, and then in the afternoons and maybe in the evening, a little happy hour, we play.
Oh, I love that. And so, I mean, obviously your husband is on board with that. Does he have a business of his own as well?
He is a contractor and he's an accountant. So, of course, they have a very busy season, but it starts to slow down conveniently. July and August are not as busy. So everything just works out perfectly for us. And I don't know about you, but when you're an entrepreneur, it's always kind of noodling around. And then all of a sudden someone will say something, or, we might have an event out here that was really fun. And it's like, oh, how could I incorporate that? So you're off, but are you really ever off?
Right, right. I always say, like, my business is like my new baby, right? Like I kind of treat it like it's a child, right? It's always on my mind. It's always like, there's always grooming, right? There's always something to be doing, to make it flourish, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love that. It's because it's always on the top of your mind. So what is one thing? I mean, summertime is a hard time to say no, right? Right? Let's face it. What is one thing that you have to, like, with intention, say no to over the summer that makes space for you for growth, whether it be for yourself or for your business?
At my age, you think I'd have that figured out, but I have a hard time saying no. And everything is an opportunity for me. So I don't say no a lot, but I do know when I go back into Calgary, because I usually go back every month or 5 weeks. It's just, I get there and I hit the ground running. And last month was crazy. It was nonstop. And I was driving back out to the cabin and I thought, I have to learn to say no, because I get there and it's like hit the ground running. And so did I provide a lot of value when you've only got small pockets of time? So learning to say no, I think, is a real challenge. And I think it's a challenge for, I think, women entrepreneurs. I mean, we tend to want to always give, not disappoint people. So maybe that's just a me trait, but
No, I think that's definitely a woman's trait, right? But I see, like, my husband has his own company as well, and I don't see him at work. He doesn't talk work. I don't know anything about his business, right? Like, I have no idea what's going on. But I see, like, when he comes home from work, he puts his phone away and he's like, I'm not at work, right? If the phone is going to ring, if he's going to get text messages or emails, he's not looking at that until the morning. And I look at that and I go, okay, so something's wrong either with him or with me, because we are not the same, right? Like, I can't do that. Like, my phone is always in my hand, and I don't have clients that are, texting me or emailing me or calling me even. after 5 o'clock. It just doesn't happen, right? They've got their lives to live. But I'm always afraid, how do you do that, right? I know it's possible. I see it, right? It is possible.
It is possible. And I always say, when people expect a quick response, like that's kind of my thing. When people expect a quick response, I've kind of trained them to expect that of me, because I did expect it of myself. And it's not reasonable.
No.
And
it doesn't make sense.
I admire your husband.
Me too.
I mean, I wish he could bottle that and just send a little bit of that over here.
Right. And I think it's like a muscle, right? I think it's something we have to teach ourselves, right? Like, I know taking the phone to our rooms at night is not healthy, right? And so when my kids were young, there were no phones allowed in the bedrooms, period. I didn't care whose phone it was, right? Their friends would come over and they'd have to leave that on the kitchen table, right? But then as they got older and became adults, I never had that rule anymore, right? And so I found myself, like, my phone comes to my room often, but now I leave it in the bathroom, right? Because I'm like, if I have it beside me, it's not good for my brain, right? But if I can't sleep at night, what do? Oh, I can't sleep. Let's scroll, right? So I don't touch my phone until the morning, because I need it for meditating and, all the things. So yeah, I think that's where we need to say no to, number one, like, in the first place. But I also believe that, we have to learn how to use no as a sentence, right? Because isn't that the word, right? No is a full sentence. Can you help me? Not right now. Right?
Exactly. And that's not even really no. That's not really.
That's right.
And it's interesting because in my career, and I worked for a charity, and I learned that if I was looking for sponsorship or help or whatever, my go-to sentence was, is that no, or is that no right now?
Right.
And we should say that to ourselves almost. It's not no forever.
That's right.
It's this moment in time. And talking about phones, I mean, I use the alarm clock on my phone. So, but I'm very good about not scrolling. I mean, once I put it down,
you put it down.
Excuse me, and plug it in, it's
done. And
they say it's bad. They do say.
They do. I actually started for a while there, for a long time. I would put it to bed, right? At 8:30, it was bedtime, just like a child, right? 8:30, I put it in my office on my desk on the charging cord, and that was it. I didn't see it again until the morning. And I'll tell you, I slept better when I was doing that, right? Everything was just so much more smoother and calmer, right? But, hard habits are hard to break.
Well, and it's interesting because I pride myself in saying, well, in the morning I have a couple of coffees and then I get dressed and ready for the day. If I could just pride myself in saying, and then at 5 o'clock, I put the phone in my office and close the door and don't that. So I have always found that at the end of the day, I'm not as disciplined as I am in the morning.
Right. Right. And that's, like, again, it's just something that we have to work on. Right. And it's obviously, like, something we are going to be working on for a long time.
Yes.
And when we get that figured out, it'll be something else. And that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's okay too. So tell me, what mindset shift has helped you level up in your business or in your life recently?
Well, I think probably the biggest moment for me recently has been my business partner at Connected Business Women Network. We've been together in this partnership for 15 years. We started with a different company, and then that went away, so we continued. And so she retired exactly a year ago. And I knew I wanted to carry on. I knew what we had was fantastic. And that's why branding for me is interesting, because we always say, well, branding is about you. Branding is about and once you become a unit and you're in a partnership, if that partnership goes away and she retires, then what? What's the brand? We've been saying the secret sauce, the, dynamic duo. Now it's like, ooh. So last summer was a very interesting summer in terms of working really hard on what was that going to look like without the other person. And I knew right away I wanted to continue. So it took a lot of thinking, turning internal, talking to people, changing processes, making it work so that this now could still carry on with one person with the responsibilities of two people. And so it was a huge adjustment and still adjusting. I mean, every meeting I learned something, but I think the best thing that people can do, and entrepreneurs especially, is to listen to their audience, listen to their client. Because, people will say when someone tells you something, you should listen because
there's a reason. Yeah.
And none of us would have businesses without clients and listening to our client.
Right. That is so true. Right. And once we start listening to them and giving them what they need, right, we also learn what needs we have. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is one summer habit or ritual that keeps you in your power?
What's one? I think having a schedule, but not having a schedule. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I know I'm committed. In the morning, I'm going to work for this long. And then, like anyone else, I mean, if we worked for an employer, we'd have 2 weeks of holidays.
Yeah.
I don't know that we always do that for ourselves in our business because we feel like we might miss something or things will just get derailed and the world will fall apart. So I think it's balance, and we all look for balance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of keeping your eye on the prize and yet recharging our batteries and saying, well, that was a really great summer. We did fun things. We saw, like, if you go on a hike for 2 hours, things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's doing all those things that we don't get to do all year round.
Right.
It's just a different time of year where there's different opportunities. You
That's
stay
right.
outside longer, or you go for hikes instead of freezing and blowing snow. So it's doing new things that also stretches your brain.
That's right. Absolutely. And, when it is -40 outside and you're sitting inside and you see like the 4 feet of snow and like, you have to remember in the summertime when I went on that 2-hour-long hike and I regretted it. Well, I'm not regretting it right now. Right. Because I got to be outside and it wasn't freezing. There wasn't all that snow. Right. And it just helps you sort of ground yourself. Right. And be okay.
And gets you through.
I got to be there. Right. And now I get to be here. Right. And I think that's an easy way to reframe yourself, like, or your mindset. Right. Like I got to do that because the weather was, working with me. Today it's not. So I get to be here and focus here. I love that. What is a recent mistake or learning moment, we'll call it, that pushed you forward?
A recent mistake. Let me see. Oh, recent mistake. Well, I think if I have mistakes, my mistakes are to feel like I need to respond too quickly. I don't have a specific example.
No,
but
and that's fair. right? I mean,
Yeah.
and the thing is, you don't need to tell the entire world your mistakes, right? I mean, we have to have some kind of closure here. But at the same time, like I when I hear that question, I think, you know, there's a reason why we do what we do, right? And so, why am I doing this way? Because I mean, it probably didn't work for you, before, right? And you learned, like social media, like when you're scrolling on social media, how many hours do we lose? Right? How many hours do we lose just because we want to see what everybody's doing? Right? Do we really need to know what everybody's doing?
Or what they're eating?
Or what they're eating? Like, seriously, right? We don't need to know that. And that's our mistake, because we can put whatever we want on there, right? We can put
Well,
whatever
that's
we want on social media, but that doesn't mean we have to spend time reading it. And, if you want to comment, by all means, get involved. But sometimes it's I don't want to say unimportant or unnecessary, but it kind of is, right?
it becomes a rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah. And how many times have we done that? Like, that's one thing that I know that, I'll just look at one or two videos, right? Or like reels. And next thing I know, it's an hour later. And I'm like, oh my God, there goes most of my day. Now I have to catch up that time, right? So I know that's a mistake that I make.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and from that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to set a timer, and I actually do that.
I think
Excuse me.
that's a really good idea, because you can just go down that rabbit hole.
Yep.
And next thing you know, like you said, oh, it's lunch.
Yeah. And then, it's like, well, now I have a meeting. I don't have time to make my lunch, or I don't have time for this, or whatever your day looks like. And so I set a timer for myself, and that helps me. I can see 5 or 6 of these little reels. Okay, fun's over, break's over, right? Like, now it's back to work.
Yeah.
Now, CBWN, is that like your own business? Yeah. So
Yes.
tell me, if you could tell your younger self just one thing, what would you, before launching it or before taking it on, what would that be?
I think, 16 years, we've seen a lot of change in our world, in our business, in the ladies that attend our lunches, their businesses. And I think being less rigid is really, and not that I was, but not to be afraid to change, to embrace change, and that's what networking is really about, is about listening and then responding versus always being the talk. So I think not to be afraid of change, to
Yeah, I
be
love
able,
that.
and we've had to pivot like everyone else in different circumstances, whether it be business or health or whatever. I mean, everyone has to pivot for a different reason, but without resistance, with more patience and less fear, I think.
I love that. That is advice that everybody should be listening to, right? Be ready for what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. So tell me, what's your go-to summer productivity hack?
Reflection. I would say a lot of reflection. And then we have just an enormous, wonderful community. And so spending time listening and reflection, which then leads to goals and planning.
I love this. This is great. This is really awesome. So now we kind of know a little bit about your daily routine. I know we have to, get going because you have another appointment to get to. I just want to ask one more question. If you would now fast forward to the end of your summer, which is going to be Thanksgiving weekend in October, from what I understand, what would you say yes to? Yeah. What would you? Okay, let me ask you this way. What would make you say yes to leveling up?
I just love leveling up. I just think, and it's different. When you're in a partnership, there's two brains, and we worked very well together. We had totally opposite strengths. But when you're a sole proprietor and you're no longer have that fear, leveling up is the essence of going forward. And I had a very, very intelligent young man tell me years and years ago that the only thing that stops us is fear. And if you're afraid, you're not moving forward. So I think when you get to be my age, that fear goes away a little bit because you've learned from your mistakes, and your mistakes could be a blessing. And I mean, I just still, after 16 years, have a vision for this organization. And I think you and I talked about it the other day, is that you just have to put one foot in front of the other. In terms of leveling up, I absolutely am excited for the next gen coming up. They are smart. They don't seem afraid. They like to try new things. They have a different version of life. They tend to have really good life balance. And I think they are a bright light for me. And I think listening to them and learning from them will help all of us level up.
I think so. They see the world differently for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think that there's lots to learn, right? There's lots for us to learn from them, and the generations behind them have lots to learn from them. So I think, we complain about these young kids, but at the end of the day, they know what they're doing, right? Just like, we thought we knew what we were doing. They know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they just have a different toolbox.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. And you can tell that, as I was saying to you, in the way they talk, right? The way they talk, it's clear that they know what they're doing. They know that, they have to be open to change. They have to be open to, whatever the world is going to hand them, because let's face it, there's lots of things coming out in the world today that we didn't have to deal with 20, 30 years ago. So yeah, I love this. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Debbie. This has been great. I'm so excited about the Boss Babe Summer and, all the conversations we're going to be having.
I am excited too. And thank you for inviting me. I would love to share it with our audience. We put out a newsletter, and let's get our babes involved with your babes.
Absolutely. I love it. I will have all your information in the show notes, so we can, anyone listening can see those, and then they'll be able to contact you and, maybe join one of your meetings. Maybe tell us when you have your meetings. I know that they're like September to June. Is it once a month or twice a month?
It's once a month on Wednesdays. It's over the lunch hour. So it goes typically 11:30 to 1:30, and they are in Calgary. We don't have a membership, so anyone can come.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Confidence in Bloom, where we celebrate the amazing, brilliant, and beautiful woman you already are. You don't have to look like a movie star or a supermodel. Spoiler, they don't even look like that. You are enough, worthy of unconditional love, especially from yourself. We pour love out to everyone around us, so it's time to give that same love to you. If you're ready to step into your power and boost your confidence, I'm offering personalized coaching, 3 focus sessions designed to help you build your confidence, define your personal brand, and create your own signature style. Remember, she comes in every shape and size, and the most important thing to believe in, yourself. Want to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom? Reach out to me on Instagram at infobloomstyling, email tina@infobloomstyling.com, or visit the Divas That Care Network website. Until next time, keep blooming confidently.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.